Hello, babes, and welcome to Coffee and Tequila, the morning show on Mondays or Tuesdays, and the late show on Fridays or Saturdays. My name is Zach.
My name is Alastair.
And this episode of Coffee and Tequila is kindly being sponsored by Helix Sleep, as always, and we'll let you know a little bit more about them a little bit later. Welcome to Coffee and Tequila, guys. We're married, we're husbands, we're lovers, we're betrothed. For those of y'all who don't know.
Wait, so we're married, we're lovers, we're husbands, but we don't sleep in the same bed anymore?
What are you doing? What?
Yeah, I am putting our marriage issues on the table here.
Wow. Are you really that salty about it?
Of course I'm
Is
salty
this how we're
about it.
starting? Okay, let's go for it. Let's go into We had a little bit of a conversation this morning, and I didn't realize you were that salty about it.
Yeah, tell people why you don't sleep with me anymore.
Should you tell people why I don't sleep with you anymore?
Well, you claim... Let me tell you, there's no evidence. There's only hearsay.
Oh, should we do
I've
the
never
evidence?
heard myself snore not once.
I've got the evidence.
You don't got the evidence.
I've got the evidence. I got the videos, the video proof.
You're going to have a video of some other person sleeping. I don't know how you can even verify that.
Okay,
So
it's you. He has started this year. This year, he has started snoring so bad. I already have like insomnia, pretty bad sometimes. It's real hard for me to get to sleep sometimes, but he has started snoring so bad that it makes it like 10 times worse. It is impossible to sleep once he starts snoring, and that's near every night.
Well, you know what? We're lucky that we have two Helix mattresses because of this. And let me tell you,
We are, because I have another bed to go to.
I was kind of used to him at some points, getting up during the night or staying up late to edit. And then like recently, it's been me waking up. He's not here. And I'm like, okay, let me go grab a glass of water. I go to grab a glass of water. He's not editing. He's nowhere in the house. I check where his location is, and he's in the house. And then he ends up being in somewhat the other bed in that other room. And
You act like this is some foreign place, like I'm in some foreign apartment or something. It's our guest bedroom, our guest bed, okay? I move over to the guest bed. It's hardly some big scandal.
yes, you're not betrothed to me because we're married. We are married, Zachary. You promised sickness and health, richer or poorer, snorer or not snorer.
But then what about me? I need to be able to sleep, and I need to be able to get my sleep and re-energize, and I cannot sleep next to you. He will start snoring. I can always tell when you're about to start snoring like real bad, because your breathing will get like and then he'll start snoring, and he always turns his body over towards me to start snoring. I try to like put the pillow up over my ears. I try to do something. You already play like sounds. He's got to have the fan going. And I have to play. I need like something to play next to me, like a little TV or something like that. But I have to turn it real low, because if I don't turn it down low, he's like, I can't even sleep. I cannot even sleep. You're playing you're playing the documentary. You're playing the YouTube. You're playing the reality TV.
No,
so I have to have it turned
Zachary,
down real low, right next to my ear.
I walked that back because I said you can do it. My only thing is that you cannot be playing true crime while we sleep. You cannot be playing true crime while we sleep. And let me tell you, I'm surprised at this point that we haven't gotten like double beds and slept like Lucio Ball.
We talked
and
about
Desi
that
Arnaz.
when we first got, like, this is not a new thing. My desire to sleep in a separate bed has dated back to the beginning. Yes, has gone back to the beginning of our marriage. I actually saw a TikTok about this yesterday, and I fully related to it. And this woman who's married, and she's like, you know what? I actually have a desire to sleep in a separate bed from my husband. And I brought that up to my husband, and he didn't like that idea. And I brought that up to you this morning, and I was like, what if we just had what if, we have two bedrooms? What if they're just each our own bedroom? He got really mad about this.
So the real issue is you started really wanting this stuff when you were watching Sister Wives. And now you just want to float from bed to bed, willy-nilly.
No.
How you feel free. It's not going to happen, Zachary. It's not going to happen.
This is not true. But the desire to sleep in a separate bed has gone back to the beginning of our marriage. We had a conversation at the beginning of our marriage, and we were like, well, you remember how in the olden days, the older folks and, those couples would sleep in separate beds. And I was like, well, yeah, I find the appeal in that, I like to have my own space, just because we're married, just because society says we should share a bed doesn't mean that has to be so. And you know what? I might even like to have a different bed, but we were like referencing it when we were old. We're like, when we get old, maybe we'll have separate beds.
No.
You were okay with that, by the way.
No,
yes, you were.
Maybe I was okay with it for the time, but I'm sorry. My grandparents had separate beds, and like I don't know.
It's just your own space, and like what? Think about it. Think about it too. Like like if we had separate bedrooms, if we have separate beds, and then like imagine how exciting that would make it. Getting to share a bed together, it'd be like sleepovers. They'd be like, we'd get to,
Here comes the sister wife things again.
It would be like it would be like me trying to get you into my bed. Imagine how sexy that'd be. It'd be like trying to get you into bed.
It'd just be me following you to each bed that you decided to
This is what he already does anyway, though, right? Like any bed that I switch to because you're snoring too loud, the next night he ends up in that bed. So we end up falling asleep together in that bed.
You know what? I'm sorry that I love you.
I wake up an hour later to this snoring. I cannot get back to sleep, and so I have to switch to back to the other bed in the guest bedroom or to the our bedroom. And this is what we do. This is the constant cycle. And I'm sorry. I need to look out for me too, and I need to be able to sleep sometimes. And if you are snoring so loud that I cannot sleep, I feel like that is fair for me to go into another bed and sleep.
Zachary, what we need is evidence that this is happening.
I've got the evidence.
And you're not just sneaking away during the middle of the night. Two, you don't have the evidence. Two, once you get the evidence, I will go to the doctor, get whatever I need to get removed, and then we'll go.
Been saying this for a year, by the way.
And where's the evidence? There is no evidence
because he hasn't.
It doesn't exist.
You son of a bitch! This is so stupid. This is so stupid. I don't know. And nobody's going to agree with me. Yeah, I see comments all the time about people who say, "Oh, well, if you get married, why even get married if you don't want to share a bed together?" I don't know. I just feel like I am already not a traditional marriage by society's standards, and so. Why do I have to live by those rules? I don't. And if,
Zachary, you can have your separate bed when we also live in a tiny house. And it can be giving me two mattresses right next to each other like this.
Whatever.
And you can have your separate bed.
As it stands now, we fall asleep in the same bed and we wake up in separate beds.
Well, you know what? I love you very much, Zachary. And I hope that you find it in your heart to make your way back to
I love sleeping with you. I do. I love sharing the bed with you. I love interlocking legs.
I'm about to call you out here.
What? Oh my God.
You know what he also does? And to kind of like get away from his mindset of it being a heteronormative.
This is the Healing Sleep episode.
Is that I'll fall asleep. If I fall asleep and I wake up and he's not gone, I'll fall asleep and wake up and his feet are in my face. Because
do you know why I do that? No. Head
to foot.
No.
As if we're like two guys at a
like a straight couple. No. Okay, this is why I do that. I love when he scratches my back. I love it. It's the best thing that can help me go to sleep. But he gets real annoyed sometimes that he has to do it.
I do not.
You do.
Project.
Sometimes I'll ask him, and I can hear him when I ask, going.
I mean, I do that sometimes.
And so it makes me uncomfortable to ask you.
I don't want to do it.
It makes me not want to ask you, though. It makes me not want to ask you. And so I know that he's got this like little foot fetish thing.
I do not have a foot fetish.
And so I know if I put my head at the foot of the bed and my feet like closer to his face, his fingers will mosey over to my feet and he'll start like stroking my feet. And that feels real good. It's the next closest thing to get my back scratched.
You know what?
And so
Zachary,
I can fall asleep.
I feel like we've overshared already for the episode. I think we've overshared.
Was that your fuckery of the week? Is that what you're going to choose as your fuckery of the week?
No. I'm ready for this episode to be over. But my F of the week.
I think we have the same fuckery of the week.
Yes, is Taylor Swift ticket sales.
Absolutely. This whole Taylor Swift Ticketmaster fiasco was hell this past week.
And you were dealing with it more than me because I was at work. I had to do stuff, and I don't have good internet.
Like 2 days in a row. Like when people are if you see anybody on social media or anywhere like complaining about Taylor Swift tickets, or trying to get Taylor Swift tickets, and just know all of that exaggeration that you might think is a hyperbole is not hyperbole. It is what it sounds like. It was as stressful as what it sounded like. So basically what they did, right, is like this was already going to be a tour that Taylor Swift is going on tour, the Eras tour, and she has released however many dates throughout the U.S. They haven't even released international dates yet, but it was a hyped up tour. Like everybody wants to go to this tour, right? Everybody's been real excited about it, and she has not toured since the Reputation era. Yeah, and so there's a couple of different albums already been released since then. So it's going to be
4 albums.
This is the tour to go to. If there's ever a tour that anybody wants to go to, it's a legacy tour from an artist where they cover their whole eras, and this is called the Eras Tour. So everybody's already real excited about it. And so what Taylor Swift did was she partnered up with Ticketmaster, because Ticketmaster is pretty much the end-all be-all in the ticket industry, the touring industry, and so she partnered with Ticketmaster, and Ticketmaster said, okay, so what we're going to do is verified fan, right? And so all you had to do is go in, you had to register, and they were going to pick a select group of people to get to go into the pre-sale one day. So there would be a pre-sale, the next day there would be a Capital One sale, and then the day after that there would be, or that Friday, there would be the general sale, right? And so...
And we were verified fans.
We both...
I think I had a boost.
Well, we both registered. We registered. Yeah. You've bought from her website before, so you got a boost automatically.
Yeah, I got a boost.
Yeah.
And we're Capital One card holders, too.
Yes, and Troy had registered as well. And so none of us got accepted during the pre-sale register. So none of us got to do the verified.
I got on the wait list.
Everybody got on the wait list,
okay.
but we weren't special.
I don't know if I meant
anything. We were all registered and we just didn't get it. But we did have Capital One, so we were going to get to do with the Capital One on sale. And I was like had a little bit of anxiety about that. And I was like, oh, well, what if the tickets, start going? But we were assured that Capital One had its own reserve of tickets for this pre-sale, and so pre-sale day comes, everybody floods the Ticketmaster website. There's 2,000 people in these queues, and the fuckery is just off the charts. The people are not able to get tickets. Every time they go in to get tickets, the tickets get snapped up really quick. They click on another set of tickets, those tickets get snapped up really quick, and it was wild. People were waiting in line for 6 hours. They were waiting online for 8 hours.
How long did you wait in line for?
So I had, because it was going so crazy, Ticketmaster released a statement that pretty much said, and you know how I know Capital One wasn't fucking with this? They were real annoyed by it. It's because they didn't even release their own statement. They just retweeted Ticketmaster's statement, because Ticketmaster was under a lot of fire for this. And Ticketmaster said, because the site was crashing and everything, Ticketmaster said, okay, so the Capital One on sale was supposed to be today. We're not going to do that. We're going to move it to tomorrow, 2 p.m. So I was like, fuck, because I was waiting for the Capital One sale, right? I was like, shit. But then it gave me load off a little bit. I was like, okay, well, I can wait till tomorrow and get in line early. I kind of know what to expect now. I'm seeing how the whole thing is going. Next day comes, I get in line real early. I have 3 screens pulled up because I have my account, your account, and then I made another account, right? And initially, the Capital One pre-sale was you were supposed to have to enter your first 6 digits of your Capital One card to get in line to buy these tickets. In order to get in line, you were supposed to have to enter those digits from the Capital One card. They did not do that. I did not have to enter any sort of code, any sort of 6 digits, nothing. Anybody could have entered those lines.
That was the same thing for the verified fans.
Yes.
You could enter the queue, you could select tickets, and then at the end you had to enter your code.
People were just entering the line without having Capital One cards, without anything. There was tons of bots in there. There were a shit ton of bots in there, because by the time it didn't take me too long to get through the line. But you know why I think it didn't take me too long to get through the line? It took me about an hour and a half.
Because
by the time I got up there, they were already gone. So people were jumping out of line.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it? So when they first announced it, it was the tickets were going to be around $50 to $400 based on the price point. But when people were entering it, even though it wasn't scalped yet, there was what do they call it? Dynamic pricing.
So there was not dynamic pricing.
There was not?
There was a rumor that dynamic pricing was on because the tickets were going up so high. Pricing was supposed to be from $50
to $400.
Was it $50 to $400 or whatever? With VIP packages you could add on and stuff like that, right? But when we were getting in there, the prices were real high. And so a lot of people were speculating that it was dynamic pricing, and I have since figured out that dynamic pricing was not on. And dynamic pricing is basically something that Ticketmaster, when it merged with Live Nation, came up with too. They said it was to bring ticket prices down, but it's the complete opposite. It's turned into the complete opposite. And now with the amount of people in there trying to get tickets, it raises those prices way high. So like recently with Bruce Springsteen, it happened with Bruce Springsteen, and like floor seats ended up going up to like $5,000 because there was such demand for it, right? And so people were speculating that Taylor Swift dynamic pricing was on, and it wasn't, because it would have been up to like $5,000 for floor seats, and we weren't getting to that. It wasn't quite that. But what was happening, just 1 second before I let you go, what was happening was Ticketmaster was automatically adding upgrading seats. They were automatically upgrading every seat to VIP. Though you couldn't get a single damn seat without it being upgraded to VIP already. And so that's where the dynamic price, or that's where the price increase was coming from.
I did hear about that, and just to clarify for dynamic pricing, is that you can argue that it will make tickets cheaper it's because it's all about supply and demand.
Yeah.
So if you have the supply and there's less demand, then you reduce the cost of the supply in order to meet that demand. But the demand is so high, and you are seeing this especially with scalpers on the other side, where they're selling tickets for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 because the demand is so high. And the supply is so low that they can bring those costs up to meet that.
Well, and so what dynamic pricing was originally supposed to do, right, is like for nosebleed seats, it was supposed to make those seats like super cheap because the floor seats would go first, and then, the lower bowl seats would go first. So it's a whole bunch of fuckery on that end. Basically, when I got through the line on all three screens, there was nothing. There was like nothing there. There were no tickets. We were supposed to have our own reserve of Capital One tickets. So I'm like, how many freaking tickets were there? Because I was there half an hour before. I got in line like 10 minutes before is when they let me get in line, join the wait list for the line. And every time I would see a group of tickets, because I was trying to get a group of tickets. I think it was like 6 max tickets that you could get. And we had a group of people wanting to go with
about
us.
6 friends.
Yes. So we were trying to get the group. So I was trying to get 6 tickets. I was like clicking here, clicking there, clicking everywhere I could see 6 tickets. I was even going up to like $350 a ticket. I was like, shit. Well, like there's nothing left. I have to get the $350 ones. Anytime I would click it, to go to get those tickets, immediately you would say, oh, another fan already got those. I'd go to a different set of tickets. Oh, a fan already got those. Different set of tickets. Oh, a fan already got those. I even went to like the highest priced ones that were like $800 a ticket. And I clicked on that and, oh, a fan already got those. Not available anymore. Hold on. And it kept happening so often that eventually the venue would completely sell out. And I was like, shit. So I'd go to a different venue. Exact same thing happening. They were going so fast that I couldn't even get single tickets. I even tried to get single tickets, like completely apart from each other, and they would go so fast. Oh, a fan got another one. That was absolutely bots. People were not doing that. It was not people.
So, and I was very curious about this because Zachary and I are big fans of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so we love to buy collectible items. And oftentimes when we buy them, bots will buy them first.
Yeah.
And so I did a little bit of research into this. And so bots are biggest in the sneaker industry. And the thing is, people will sell bots to other people, and it'll basically let you bypass everything and buy it immediately. You can make bots specifically for different websites like Ticketmaster and stuff like that. And then you can make bots for like different sites like Mondo, whenever they release
and that's how
vinyls
that
like
shit
that.
goes so fast.
And that's why it goes so fast. But you have to buy the right bots for it.
It's like software too, right? Like it's like bot software.
It is software,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's how a lot of people. This is how a lot of people make money nowadays. Is they resell. It's all in the resale market. They buy tickets, they buy shoes, they buy figurines, and then they jack up the price and resell it.
Anytime Monster High dolls go on sale, like a collectible Monster High doll, they're sold like in 5 minutes. And I know that's not people. That can't be people. It's bots buying them all up, because a minute later they will all be on eBay for like outrageous amounts of money. And that's exactly what was happening with these Taylor Swift tickets, is that immediately they were being resold on Ticket, or I don't remember if it was on Ticketmaster,
no,
but
on StubHub.
all across different sites. They were being sold for like $2,000. There's those headlines that say like $9,000 to $50,000. Those may have been here or there, but that wasn't the
It wasn't the norm. Yeah,
it wasn't the norm. That was just that sensationalized headlining. But they were like going up to like $1,200 for a damn lower bowl seat, or I think if you go all the way up to the nosebleeds, those are like $500 right now. I even looked today.
It was 600. in Chicago.
It's ridiculous. And I went, while I was trying to get these tickets, I stood in line for every single venue. And those lines were going so fast because nobody was on those lines because they were all sold out. Every date sold out so quickly. And people are pissed.
Yes, I mean, because fans aren't getting tickets. I mean, that's why we get pissed when bots buy stuff, because typically a lot of the people who use bots, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people who use bots aren't even fans of the merchandise. They just know that there's a demand for it.
They don't care. And this was this Ticketmaster. So, okay, everybody's pissed at Ticketmaster, right? And Ticketmaster ended up having to release a whole thing. They've been like trying to save their asses over the past couple of days.
Several times.
Basically. And so they basically said that we knew this was going to be a really big deal. They even said it when they were sending out those emails before the pre-sale. Do you remember those emails saying like, this is going to be historic, this is going to be this is going to be that?
Exactly. Yeah. And then they sent out the codes, and they're like, we didn't expect
That's what they're saying.
People
so they,
to do this.
To like cover their ass, they started saying, well, we didn't expect it to be as historic as it was. We didn't expect to have this much traffic. There was too much traffic. Like there was like 40 million people on the side. There was too many people. Well, I'm like,
you could have cut out the traffic by having the code at the beginning.
Like why were people in line? Why were people able to get in line if they were not part of the verified fan thing, or if they were not part of the like Capital One?
I wonder if
pre-sale.
You could have used the bots to get through the verified fan thing.
The bots were in there. I'm telling you, they were going in there. And so it's been bringing up all of this other fuckery, all of this other shit starting and dust ups that Ticketmaster has had throughout the years. And so I'm going to go through a couple of those actually. In the 90s, Pearl Jam versus Ticketmaster was a really big one, right? So Ticketmaster was pretty much like starting its monopoly on the touring industry. And in the 90s, Pearl Jam was trying to tour, and they were trying to keep ticket costs down, right? And they were wanting service fees to be like $1.80, and Ticketmaster service fees are like $4 to $8, right? And so Ticketmaster was not agreeing with Pearl Jam, and so Pearl Jam was like, okay, well, we're just going to go around your system and sell our tickets to fans, however, in a different way. We're not going to go through the Ticketmaster system.
They went through EMT.
And so Ticketmaster basically like blackballed them from touring. They basically created this like nationwide boycott on Pearl Jam for touring because Ticketmaster has so many different deals with all of the venues basically. And so they were going on to all of the venues, and they were like, hey, legally, you cannot work with them if they are not going through us to get their tickets, right? And so this was a whole big thing. It went to Congress. It went there was the Department of Justice they were like involved in doing investigations, and it was a whole big thing. Ultimately, Ticketmaster won out. There was like a whole Pearl Jam bill that was like created, and it just basically died. And Ticketmaster won.
Well, it won, and it was kind of snarky. I saw the press release afterwards.
Yeah,
we're vindicated, but like because I was reading the actual article from Rolling Stone from 1995, and then they also talked about although Ticketmaster did win this, it did give consumers who didn't know about service fees.
Yeah,
because service fees were never like priced out,
listed. Yeah,
so they did curve their service fees a little bit, and now people know that they have the service fees on top of that. But then I was looking at what they also talked about is that people stopped stocking the box office with people because if they do that, if they have people in the box office, they can't charge service fees. But if you're doing it through the phone, which is how they did it before, they can charge service fees.
It was like through the phone. You could go in person. It's like how we used to be able to do it. In 2002, a band called the String Cheese Incident. They were trying to sell tickets directly to their fans, right? And Ticketmaster came out, and they made a rule for all of their artists and bands and stuff like that. And they basically said that bands and artists could not sell more than 8% of tickets to their own shows, basically blocking String Cheese Incident from selling tickets directly to their fans. The String Cheese Incident sued, and there was a settlement that allowed the band to sell like chunks of tickets for 5 years, and then that lapsed. And after that lapsed in like 2009, the band has basically resorted to finding ways to skirt around the Ticketmaster in order to sell fans directly to sell tickets directly to their fans, and that's basically they're basically scalping their own tickets, is what they said. They feel like they're scalping their own tickets. Also,
my gosh, that's kind of funny to think
it's crazy. And also in 2018, there was reporters for the Toronto Star. a Canadian publication, and they went undercover as ticket scalpers to an event that Ticketmaster was at, and Ticketmaster representatives were encouraging them to partake in ticket scalping. They were like, hey, you guys can scalp as many tickets as you want. You can go ahead and get as many tickets as you want. And Ticketmaster actually turns a blind eye to using bots. So if you want to use bots, go ahead and use bots and just go through Ticketmaster's reselling program. And so they were basically encouraging that in order to make the sale on the tickets on the Ticketmaster website, selling to the scalpers, right? And then the scalpers reselling the tickets on their website again. And they would make even more money on the fee. It's freaking wild. It's crazy. And
they get more money on the fees of the scalpers. Yeah. And a lot of people speculate that they're scalping their own tickets, that they're buying up their own tickets and reselling them.
I am just like mind blown. This is not something that I even like really knew much about, but like having researched all of this and like looking all of this up. By the way, all of those facts I just got, I should probably like credit my source, right? It's from The Hill. There's an article from The Hill basically exploring the different dust-ups that Ticketmaster's been into, and I'll link that down below.
Mine was Rolling Stone 1995 article.
There you go, baby. But it just, doing the research really has like highlighted how seedy freaking Ticketmaster is. I did not realize. I remember seeing a bunch of stuff when they merged with Live Nation, and Live Nation is again like a big powerhouse in the touring industry and like live entertainment. And I remember a lot being said around that time, but I had no idea. Like I did not realize, and so it makes a lot of sense that now with this, I think Ticketmaster and their shadiness and their seediness meeting Taylor Swift and her demand. And the amount of people that were going to have eyes on this was a really bad move on their part. In order to keep their shit secret, they should not have done something like with Taylor Swift, because Swifties are crazy, by the way.
Swifties they're talking about class action lawsuits.
They will learn law in order.
They will get a degree.
14, 15-year-old Swifties will learn law in order to, just because they weren't able to get Taylor Swift tickets.
Most Swifties are now in their 20s.
They're like millennials. They're like us. Yeah. But we will learn law in order to...
in order to make this right. But like, I saw somebody tweet, and I'm not sure if it's valid or not, or if they're just saying this, but that their cousin works for Republic Records, and that Taylor Swift was.
I'm sure she's pissed. I'm sure she is pissed. So, Ticketmaster, they basically fucked over all of her fans, right? And like for an artist, whether she gives a shit about her fans or not, it doesn't even matter. It made her look so bad. This made her look really bad.
Well, we actually just had a conversation kind of about this, about like, Rihanna and Beyonce are going out on tour here soon, and are they going to be able to like see what's going on with Taylor Swift's issue and curve it? And you said,
I feel like Beyonce's not really I don't know so much about Rihanna, but I feel like Beyonce is more like she's like Hermes, right? Like she's a high designer brand, and Taylor Swift is still like a company that is like accessible. Even though she's like so successful, she's still accessible to everybody, and it feels like casual clothing, right? Whereas like Beyonce knows she's Hermes, and she doesn't really care. Like she knows she doesn't need to be accessible for everybody. Her tickets are going to be super expensive, and I feel like she'll have dynamic pricing going. I feel like she doesn't give a shit, and people are going to buy them anyway, and we're not going to complain about it. But like for somebody like Taylor Swift, it's just different. Like Taylor Swift still feels more accessible.
Well, because she's built that connection with her fans. She's made herself accessible. She's made herself relatable. That's part of her brand. And she put out a statement too about this.
What do you think about that statement?
We were waiting for a statement for a while.
I was wondering if she was going to say anything at all.
And
because there's not anything that can be done, right? Like she can't refund.
It kind of annoyed me. So she didn't call them out by name.
Yeah,
it was on her stories, so it could expire. And I think that she was just addressing it while she could address it. And I'm hoping that in the background she's looking to see what she can do.
Yeah,
without having, because Pearl Jam was at the time one of the biggest rock bands,
especially for touring, right? Like
they thought that they had the weight to be able to do what they were doing. And right now I was like, yeah, of course Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, did that whole Spotify deal, Apple Music. She's taken on big corporations before, for other singer-songwriters and herself as an artist. So it seems like something that she would do. I just don't know how she's going to do it.
It seems like something she would do, but is it something she can do, right? Like, I guess that's the bigger question is like, is there something she can do? And I don't know. I don't know because this is this big.
So I was thinking about it, right? Mm-hmm. So this isn't just an issue for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Right? It's an issue for any touring artist. I could see her maybe not dealing with it right now for the Eras tour, but maybe
I could see her starting her own like ticketing industry.
Yes, or like starting maybe like an artist collective, where collectively like big powered artists, go forward and like they try to buy out time for stadiums or something like that.
Well, I mean, this is the problem here, though, is like Ticketmaster has all of these deals with all of these venues. These venues are contractually obligated to work with Ticketmaster. And so these artists then have to work with Ticketmaster. That's how they have such a monopoly on everything, is from my understanding. And so that's how they're able to get away with all of this shit, right? And artists can't really go around Ticketmaster. So if she did start a ticketing company or something like that, I don't know. It would just depend on like what the contracts look like with all of these venues and Ticketmaster and whether those were coming up. Like they were gonna. I don't know how long those extend. I don't know the details on that, but the Department of Justice is investigating this again. They have opened an investigation on it's antitrust, right? Mm-hmm. That there's antitrust concerns, and so we're gonna. This is super interesting to me. I'm like, I have my ear to the damn door on this one.
The thing is, capitalism only really works when you're able to actually have compete within markets. If you can't compete within markets, then capitalism doesn't work at all. The point of capitalism is for products, the quality of products to get better, and to drive prices down because people compete with prices so that it's accessible for more people. But guess what? With Ticketmaster in control of what was like 80% of the ticketing industry,
so wild,
then that's not going to be the case. And there's like 12 other vendors that compete for the last 20% too.
Yeah.
So it was like,
I don't know. There was she was at the AMAs on, was it yesterday, last night, or Sunday night?
Last night.
Oh yeah, and she didn't say anything about it. I was hoping she was going to say something. I knew she probably wouldn't.
I think she's. I think there's legal stuff in there because they had a contract. I think there's legal.
There's
stuff
a reason she's not saying specifics because there is a contract in place. But so that's our fuckery of the week, the biggest thing that ground our gears. But
we might get another album about it. I don't know.
We don't really have a name for this segment yet. But like, what's your best cup of Joe for the week? I guess.
I put what was
something that
I suggested it.
brought
I was
a
like,
lot of spark.
Toast of the week.
Toast of the week. Maybe we could do the toast of the week. What's your toast of the week?
So I have one. So I'm only really talking about this because I want it renewed for season 2. But Drink Masters, I started watching.
I don't even have that on my notes. I thought you were going to talk about The Last Metal.
Yeah, well, the Lost Metal just came out this week by Brandon Sanderson. It's the 4th book and the second era of the Cosmere. If you want, read the first 3 books. Amazing. The last 4 books, kind of read like Sherlock Holmes. If you're interested in something like that. Anyways. But I wanted to talk about Drink Masters because I think it has a wider appeal and also made me feel kind of like inspired to like
all week. Do you know what I've been finding all week is just little glasses like this, just laying around the house, just drinks made, like little mixed drinks, just laying everywhere.
That just don't taste very good.
And then I said, why didn't you drink it? And he's like, well, it didn't taste good, so I didn't like it. So you just leave it on the counter.
Yes. So
Gatorade and a tequila.
No, don't call me out.
Just like sitting on the bathroom counter.
It's not classy.
Randomly as I'm brushing my teeth, I just look down and see it.
It's not classy, but it's so cool because you wouldn't think that like a cocktail making show would have a lot to it, but they really go in depth because they make all of their ingredients by scratch within like 60-75 minutes.
It's like freaking chopped.
It's all super. The presentation is great. Like it's really, really fun. It's almost like upscale. What is it? Upscale British Bake Off kind of vibes because they're not cutthroat in there. They're kind of helping each other out. It's nice. I always like a feel good competitive show.
I think my best cup of Joe for the week or toast for the week. Help us out with names for this. It's like so we have the fucker of the week, which is things that ground our gears, and then something that just brought us a lot of joy this week. But I was gonna say the menu, but I'm thinking the Crown. The Crown made me real happy this week.
I just had a deja vu moment. Just watch it.
You got to move something. When you have deja vu, you got to move some stuff around until it feels right. The Crown, though, I thought The Crown season 5 was real good, and Elizabeth Debicki was really good as Diana, and I just loved watching her play Diana, and I'm addicted. I'm obsessed. Love it.
I feel like I'd like
Gave
it
me
more
life.
if we had watched it from the beginning. But we watched the first season and then we stopped, and then you only went back when
I think that's a
Diana
really
died.
good show, though, and to pick up at any sort of like different era, though. I don't think you have to watch that show from the beginning, and so I don't feel like I missed anything not watching it from the beginning, because I am more interested in the Diana years, and I fell in right, and perfectly. I don't know. It didn't seem like I was out of place at all. But
So
that's
we both actually chose different things than what we know. We wrote down.
both on Netflix.
And the menu is actually really good too. So if y'all want to check that out.
Yeah, that's probably joy. I guess we can talk about Helix Sleep really quick, the sponsor of today's episode. We love our Helix Sleep. Basically, I had our Helix Sleep conversation at the
I
beginning.
mean,
of
we
this.
did, yeah.
We
We
have
love it so much. We have two.
we have two.
My
we have
husband's
two
cheating on me with the Helix sleep mattress.
We have a queen size Helix Sleep Midnight Lux mattress and a king size Helix Sleep Midnight Lux mattress, and we use both of them quite often. And so, yeah, they both get slept in like every night, almost every other night.
Apparently, we got to spread the love.
We switch from bed to bed. We love them. We love the Helix Sleep mattresses. Now it's time to tell you all a little bit about our sponsor for today's episode, Helix Sleep. Helix is a premium mattress and a box company that makes beds to fit your unique sleep style. Helix knows that everybody is different and everybody has their own unique needs, and so they've made a sleep quiz that'll match you with your perfect mattress based on your needs. I am an all-over sleeper. Alastair is more of a side sleeper. He likes a firm mattress. I like, more medium. We took the quiz together, and we got the Midnight mattress. And one of the best parts about Helix is that they deliver the mattress right to your door for free. It comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. And if it makes you nervous to buy something online that you haven't tried, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you absolutely love it. And if you don't, they'll pick it up for you and you'll get a full refund. Well, if you or somebody you know is in the market for a new mattress and you think that Helix sounds right for you, you can go to helixsleep.com/tequila, where you can get up to $200 off of your mattress and
2 free pillows.
Candace Cameron Bure, she had the star Full House. DJ Tanner, our DJ Tanner, she is like Christmas Queen of Hallmark, right? Like she, for the longest time,
I'm glad that you said of Hallmark.
has been Christmas Queen of Hallmark, and
Mariah Carey reigns
done
supreme.
all of these Christmas movies, and like she's queen of the Hallmark Christmas movie is what she was. She worked with Hallmark for the longest time, and recently has announced that she's switching over to a new platform that is like just starting. It's a brand new platform that they're just now building, right? It was somebody who worked over at Hallmark who has created a platform, a channel called Great American Family Channel. And so Candace Cameron was part of that deal, and she went over and followed it. So as this channel is sort of making its debut, they're starting to do all the promo for it, right? And so the Wall Street Journal did an article talking about Great American Family and interviewed Candace Cameron. She did a whole photo shoot for it and everything. And one thing really stuck out about it is like they've already been talking about that this is supposed to be about Christianity. It's supposed to be about country. It's supposed to be about family. Those are the 3 big things, right? And that we already kind of know where that leans. It's the Republican channel,
Yeah.
It is supposed to be the Republican channel, but and just from that, you can already assume that maybe like the LGBT folks aren't really welcome, right? But it hadn't really been said until this Wall Street Journal article, and they straight up asked her, "Hey, yeah, are LGBT folks going to be featured in any of these movies, in any of these projects?" And Candace Cameron gave a quote exactly that said, "I think that Great American Family will keep traditional marriage at the core," and that sparked a firestorm of headlines and a bunch of people covering that and pulling that quote and basically saying that the LGBT folks are probably not welcome on this channel, right?
Which is like what people already knew, but it was like said.
It's different when it's said and verbalized versus when it's kind of already assumed, right? Like you can make the joke about it already being assumed, and you can kind of talk about it a little bit, but like until something's confirmed, I always say like you can't take back something you say. Yes. And so she went a couple days silence, went social media silent for a couple days, and then she came on Instagram and gave a statement and basically said, one of the quotes from it was, "All of you who know me," it was a long one too, I read it was like 5 pages.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was long. in her Instagram, but this is a quote from her Instagram, basically said, "All of you who know me know beyond question that I have great love and affection for all people. It absolutely breaks my heart that anyone would ever think I intentionally would want to offend and hurt anyone. It saddens me that the media is often seeking to divide us, even around a subject as comforting and merry as a Christmas movies." She went on to say in the rest of the post that she loves everybody, that she's just doing Great American Family because she wants to promote faith and her belief in God, and she wants to share God's love through Christmas. Her whole big goal there.
This got me.
Okay.
You'd put this on the list, right?
I did.
Of what we're going to talk about. So this got me started with like going down the Candace Cameron beer like little career thing.
Yeah.
And you've been a big fan of Full House and Fuller House. I've seen both, but I've not like seen them all, like it's a casual viewing while they're on, or you'll put it on and I'll watch it with you, and they're pretty good. But so I guess you took a break for a while and then came back to the industry.
She went off and started a family. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's done 18 Hallmark movies for Hallmark. And I looked to see why. So she moved to Great American Family following Hallmark's first gay Christmas movie. So people are pointing that out. I mean, I'm not sure if there's a correlation or not. However, she claims that her Hallmark contract was up at the time.
Yes.
And she was taking advantage to move to GAM. I'm going to call them GAM.
Great American Family Channel.
Yeah, GAM. And in order to like make that one like push. And I think Hallmark's been great for her. Hallmark's been great for a lot of other
she said there was
actors.
There was a change in leadership at Hallmark that she didn't agree with. And so she followed the people from Hallmark over to Great American Family Channel. And what I'm guessing is that leadership was pushing for more inclusive content. So the gay Hallmark Christmas movies and things like that, which are coming up, and maybe weren't. And it's possible that they weren't as friendly to the idea of more Christian-led Christmas movies, right? I could see that, especially if your leadership is saying that they want to be more, I don't know, quote unquote woke.
I think
they want to go. I think you can do both, but I could see them having like tried to curb the Christian movies a little bit, and
yeah.
Candace Cameron probably not liking that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it, but for whatever reason, she decided to move. Right? I have to say, I put it on this list because I really wanted to talk about this. I have been one of the biggest Candace Cameron supporters all my life. I loved Full House growing up. It was in a chaotic home that I grew up in. That was like my family that, was so wholesome, and I could watch, and it was just so wholesome and so like sweet, and there was no drama. There was no chaos in that, and I just like felt comfort with them, right? And DJ was my favorite character. Loved Candace Cameron. When Full House ended, when she started moving on to other things, I remember watching her Lifetime movies. I remember she used to have her movies, her Lifetime movies, and all of her like directed DVD movies and all of those things would be at like the library, and I could rent them for free. So I'd always go to the library and rent her movies. And then I remember when she showed up on Disney Channel after her little hiatus on That's a Raven. I remember watching that. When she was on The View, I was supporting her on The View. When Fuller House came around, so fucking excited for Fuller House. I was real excited about that one. And I even skipped like a whole day of classes in college the day it premiered just to like binge it. I just watched the whole thing and I loved it. And it felt like I had this family back. And I've always supported her, knowing that she was like, she was big in her faith. Her faith is very, very important to her. And she's never like minced that, even when she was on The View, she gave a lot of. She got hired full time for The View because she had this like little debate with Raven Simone about the cakes, the bakery who refused to bake for a gay couple, and she said that freedom of association is still a thing in this country, and she agrees with freedom of association, and if it didn't align with her with their religion, she was pretty much on the baker side, and that already let everybody know like where she kind of stands, right? But my foolish ass just still supported her. I'm just like, I love her. You know, she's my favorite little Republican.
It's kind of like some of our family members who we know that love us, but like,
Yeah.
we don't want to them to say anything that they can't take back.
It's just
out loud.
somebody I looked up to since I was a little kid, right? And so I always chalked it down to, well, that's her beliefs. Those are her beliefs, and, that's okay. She can have her beliefs. Where I really have a problem, and I have unfollowed her, I've just, it doesn't fucking matter to her. She doesn't give a shit.
Oh, you unfollowed her?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't give a shit. She doesn't care. But it did hurt me reading this in the Wall Street Journal, her saying that, because it is her making the active choice to be exclusive, right? They're excluding certain groups of people, and they're making that choice. And like everybody, again, already kind of knew that that's where this was going, but it's different seeing it in print and seeing her specifically say, well, we're going to keep traditional marriage at the core of this. We all know what traditional marriage means. It means no same sex, and it means no gay.
I mean, it's a way of answering the question by like answering the question, and
she's absolutely saying the LGBTQ are not welcome here on the Great American Family channel. And in essence, you are not part of the Great American Family. I think that is a fair sort of reading between the lines of this, right? There's going to be a lot of people who say, well, she didn't say that. You're putting words in her mouth. It is a fair reading between the lines. Okay, let's not gaslight here. Let's not pretend that we don't know what she's saying. And in that way, it did really hurt. And I commented on her post, and it started picking up a lot of traction. And a lot of people were like getting on me.
Your comment picked up
people,
on it?
People were. I mean, it wasn't like one of the top like thousands of likes and stuff like that, but like I had a lot of people commenting on my comment,
like shitty stuff, or
tearing me to shreds. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Saying,
what would you say on your comment?
I just said, okay, so my big issue with her statement that she put out was not that she was saying, I just want, God to be at the core of the projects that I work on. That's just what I want, stuff like that. I love everybody, whatever, okay? Yeah. All of that stuff. My problem with her statement was her blaming media and saying that the media, once again, is trying to divide all of us. No, you made a statement. Own up to your fucking statement. Just say, yeah, I said it. And I would respect that a lot more than being like, oh, well, the media's like twisting it and throwing, spinning it up. No, you gave a quote. You said exactly what you said, just like stand by it, man. And so that's basically what I said. Is I just said, it's not the media. You said the quote. It's what you said. And a lot of people like going in on that and getting real mad and be like, well, it's her beliefs. Not everybody, you're just mad that they're not walking on eggshells around the gays, and people were fucking saying this shit to me, and it just, I think you can't really respond to things like that. It just,
well, you know what? We never expected GAM to be for the gays, but
And I didn't expect it. I never expected to see any gays or a gay Christmas movie on that channel. Nothing. I probably wasn't going to follow her over to that channel, but it's very different. I don't even know how people
watch that channel. I don't know what that channel is.
It is very different seeing her say that and pretty much connecting the dots. Why she left Hallmark, what kind of content she's trying to produce, who's not allowed in that content.
Well, it's also how you frame it, right? She said,
"Yeah,
we are going to keep traditional marriage at the core of GAM," right?
Yeah.
Which is a positive way of saying we are not going to have gay people in GAM. I would never like to meet my idols.
Well, you got to manage your expectations with that, because the people you're probably looking up to are probably not. You're probably not going to like them. There's a big chance you're not going to like them.
I used to look up to some people who are really not good people.
Who?
The creator of Buffy.
You can say his fucking name. I hate that. I hate that. Like, let's stop acting like people don't exist. J.K. Rowling exists. Joss Whedon exists. We can point them out.
Joss Whedon. I used to. Yeah. I mean, I loved all of his stuff, so I would have loved to have met him. Whenever you ask a question of who would you like to have a conversation with, and I'd be like, oh, Joss Whedon, because I'd want to pick his brain.
Yeah.
And I just in a way, I
you
still
can
want to do that.
Say it. Why not?
In a way, I still want to do it, but like at the same time, like I've already been so disillusioned. By him and by other people that I think I've looked up to, that I don't want to meet my heroes. I want them to stay like nice and perfect in my brain, where I just know them by my own opinion of them, and and I don't have anything else that just like takes that away from it. I don't know.
I think this is what this whole situation did for me, right? It's like it just reminded me that you have to manage your expectations on the people you look up to, because they're real people in real life, right? They're not that. She's not DJ Tanner. You know, I may have thought of her like DJ Tanner, but she's not DJ Tanner. She owes me nothing. She doesn't owe me. She doesn't have to share my beliefs. She doesn't have to like agree with what I agree with. I don't have to agree with what she agrees with. She don't even fucking know me. She don't know me, right? She's her own person, making her own career, doing what's right for her, what she believes is right for her. And that reminds me of that. And it also helps me to remember that if somebody is against just who I am as a person, that's not somebody I want to support, right? So I'm just not going to support her anymore. And good luck to her. Good luck on her career. Great American Family Channel. Hope it's very successful for you. Whatever. And Stephanie Tanner's my favorite Tanner sister now. Speaking of a long-running TV show, though, that was about, 7-8 seasons? 19 seasons. This one's going to get your heart, baby.
This hurts my heart.
Would you want to meet Ellen Pompeo?
No.
No. She's not Meredith Grey, baby.
I know. I wouldn't want to meet her because, I mean, obviously, like, if I saw her, I'd freak out. But, like, if I saw her, like, in a bakery and she was like, I probably would, I'd be like, but, like, I wouldn't, like, approach her.
Would you just, like, stand in front of her?
I don't know. If I had, like, if for some reason, okay, I'm at a bakery, it's Halloween. For some reason, I decided to be a vampire doctor. And I had, like, a coat, you know the coat. Then I'd be like,
Okay.
But,
you make it sound real creepy, like you're there with the trench coat and you're gonna pull it over and there's gonna be like cookies lining on the sides that say like Ellen Pompeo.
No, but I have loved Grey's Anatomy for so long.
Well, sorry, we had to change tape. I need, you know what I want for Christmas? I really want a third camera.
A third camera?
Because we have 2 cameras right now, and we have a 2-camera setup here, and then at the top of the episode, we usually have the single camera in the middle. But if we just had 3 cameras going at all times, it'd be so easy. I just want another Canon 70D, and then, I don't know, maybe either the zoom lens or the 35mm lens. I don't know, but a 3-camera setup would be like
ideal. Well, we need it so that we can set up the video so that it automatically gets downloaded all together instead of using the SD cards. Mm-hmm. And we need to get, instead of batteries, just 2 plugs.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we going on all things? Yeah, okay, we're going. So Ellen Pompeo is leaving Grey's Anatomy after 19 seasons. You know what really irked me about this?
What?
It was the 19.
Instead of 20?
20's such a good number, dude.
Well,
she was 1 season away. 1 season away. I know it's 20-something episodes. I know it's a lot of work. 1 season away. She could have said, I was on it for 20 years.
So I've had such a love for Grey's Anatomy for so long. I'm one of those who never... I think there's a lot of us out there who like never stopped watching it. I'm 2 seasons behind right now. I'm on season 17. Karev. I know it's going to happen, but I don't want it to happen, so that's why I'm still on season 17.
You are never going to finish this fucking show now. Now that he knows that Grey is like leaving, and that's a finale for her, he doesn't ever want to watch anything that is leading up to a finale. So if he knows that Ellen Pompeo is leaving, he will never finish this damn show now. You are stuck on season 17 for the rest of your life.
And I'm a little upset because, obviously she is the titular character of the show, right?
Yeah.
It started off with Grey, and I think that if you look at season 1, it starts off mostly with her stories, and then we start like branching off, to Christina, and we branch off to other side characters, and she kind of gets lost a little bit in there. But then Sandra Oh leaves the show, and she kind of gets focused a little bit more. Derek leaves the show, and then it becomes her show again. Since season 12 to now, like she has been a superstar on that show.
What do you mean? But again, though, like it started as all of their show. Like it was her, she was the titular character, but it was still like all of their show. Like it relied on the cast. It didn't just rely on her.
It did, but she got lost in it for a while there. I think that she got lost in it for a while there. And that once Derek left and once Sandra left, she was a boss.
So basically get rid of everybody.
Yes.
And then she gets to just be, I don't know. I think it sounds boring with just her in it.
Okay, Zachary, but you don't watch it.
I stopped watching after Izzy left. You got rid of my girl, Katherine Heigl. Done.
Okay.
Done.
Well, my thing is before season 12, there had been a conversation where Shonda Rhimes was asked, when are y'all going to come to a close with Grey's Anatomy? And she basically said when, Patrick Dempsey and Ellen Pompeo are done with it. And so that told me that Patrick Dempsey and Ellen Pompeo were going to be there forever. And then Patrick Dempsey left the show, and I cried and I bawled my eyes out, and I thought it was the worst thing ever to happen.
It's so weird that he died, though. Yeah, it's terrible.
They built it up for so much time, and I was like, we're never going to come back from it. It's never going to be good. And it was great. It was great.
No.
And now she's leaving, and I just don't think I have anybody else. I mean, Bailey's still going to be there, but I don't have anything else for her. And she's the highest paid actress. Like, she's the highest paid TV actress, and she's leaving that behind.
I don't remember what the numbers are on that either, though. I remember we've had plenty of conversations about, is it 20 million? It's some sort of deal where she's got producer money and she's got money for starring it.
Money.
Yeah.
And I'm curious whether she's going to keep herself on as executive producer, because she said that she will.
Her statement said she was going to come back to visit, right?
Yeah, she said, "I am eternally grateful and humbled by the love and support you have shown me, Meredith Grey, and the show for 19 seasons. This isn't your first time on the roller coaster. You know the show must go on, and I'll definitely be back to visit. This isn't a goodbye; it's a see you later." And her and Shonda Rhimes posted a post that was like very similar to this, because it definitely seemed like she loved her job. But I'm guessing she also wants to do other stuff.
It's 19 years, man. Like that's a long stretch. Just go for the 20. You just have to go for the 20.
Yeah, I know.
That really bugs me. Really bugs me. But do you think there was any drama behind the scenes with ABC?
I don't know if there's any drama, but I don't think so, because she's already signed on to executive produce and star in a limited series based on the thriller horror The Orphan. And I think that she was very comfortable in this. Like, it's 20 years. Like, some people retire after 19, 20 years in the army, for example. So that's a long time to be a character, and maybe she's ready to be something different.
Well, and that's different. Like, TV has changed so much in the time that in just the span of the show, right? I think the show started at such a good time where they were having the 20-something episode seasons, and now we've evolved to like 8 to 10 to 12 episodes, but they are still going on 20 episode seasons, and it's got to be exhausting, Like, I'm sure she's ready to kind of step away for a little while and just like let it go to whoever.
Well, I think especially now, like, I feel like it's okay. I'm not gonna lie, I miss 22 episode seasons.
Oh, it sounds exhausting, man.
It sounds exhausting, and like we're both big Buffy fans, and I could not imagine the Buffy fans. Well, I mean, you could have pared down those seasons to 8 to 12 episodes, right? But all of the additional stuff that we got, all of the side stuff, it gives you time to really, really character develop. But then again, one of the reasons Sarah stepped away was because she was exhausted.
Yeah, she was tired. I mean, and she was the lead. She was the Grey of Buffy. Yes. She was the Buffy of Buffy. It worked for the time. And the shows that we got, the 20-something episode seasons, were like great for that time. But if Buffy were to come back, I don't know that I would want it for 20-something episodes. I think I would want it for like 10 episodes. I feel like you can create a much more concise and well thought out story in that time. And that's what I would want, And
I wouldn't necessarily want a season 2. I would want them to come back whenever they'd want to come back.
Yes,
so
we always say that.
Yes,
is like it's very important that I wish projects would understand that they don't. You don't have to have a series finale. You can have we're going to end it here for now. X-Files did it perfectly, where whether you think the comebacks are good or not, they understood that they were just going to end it for the time being and come back whenever they wanted.
The Spice Girls never broke up.
Technically.
And I that's why I don't think you necessarily have to do this. Well, I really wanted, because I do think that it should come to the close at some point, is I wanted them to have almost all of the original cast back for one season. But barring that, I think that maybe when they are ready to end Grey's Anatomy overall, it'd be cool for them to have like maybe a 3-episode arc of like all the cast coming back, or we've seen them in some form or another.
I'd be okay with that.
So maybe except for Patrick Dempsey, because he did.
It's going to be,
or Mark
George
Sloan.
O'Malley's dead too.
Oh my gosh, both Mick Dreamy and Mick Steamy are gone.
Lexi's dead. All of them are dead, Alastair.
They're all dead.
They're all died, okay?
You know what?
Tragedy befell.
I understand why Meredith is leaving. I understand why she's leaving.
I know, but who's the gray now? She's gonna have like.
Well, her sister. Oh gosh, I forget her sister's name. Is really good. So I think that
Lexi.
No, she has another sister.
She has another sister.
Yes. Spoiler alert.
So she's gonna have another sister then, another gray that's gonna come in and
no,
a third sister.
Gray? No, her sister's last name isn't Gray. But I think it'll actually focus on Bailey mostly. Honestly.
Good for her. Yeah. Good for her. Okay. Well, I don't know. I think we're kind of running to the end of this episode. I think we've talked about it a lot. We've talked for a long time, too. Yes. We're cutting in here real quick at the end of this episode because we weren't able to talk about it during the recording. But we wanted to offer some thoughts and condolences to the tragedy that happened this past weekend in Colorado Springs. I wanted to talk about that for a second. So on Saturday night, going into Sunday morning, a gunman went into a gay bar in Colorado Springs, Club Q, and killed 5 people, injured 25 people. And I don't really want to talk about the gunman at all. I don't want to give his name. All that information's out there on the internet. I'm sure you've already heard about it by now. But I do want to kind of touch on a New York Times piece that just came out today about some of the bar patrons who were there and were the real heroes in this situation. As the gunman was committing these crimes, these bar patrons took a stand and took this gunman down. One of those being Richard Fierro.
He's a 15-year Army veteran who left in 2013 as a major. And he tackled the gunman. He charged at and tackled the gunman, beating him with disarming the gunman and beating the gunman with his own weapon.
Yeah, and so he was able to disarm the gunman. He called for other patrons to help him. Somebody took the rifle and threw the rifle off to the side, so the gunman couldn't reach that. The article mentions a drag queen stomping the gunman with her heel. But I have been seeing on social media that other people are correcting this, and it was actually a trans woman, not a drag queen. So I don't know what the truth is there.
Feminine presenting person.
I'm sure that bar patron has not come forward yet, and so I'm sure she will whenever she is ready to. I'm sure this was a really traumatic event, and she probably needs time as well to kind of process this. And so the two of them primarily subdued this gunman. It's because of them that this tragedy wasn't bigger than it was. It's still a tragedy, and it's still terrible, but it could have been even worse, right, had they not taken a stand. And this hasn't been confirmed to be a hate crime, but I think it's pretty safe to assume it probably was. Just imagining all of the people who are completely traumatized by this event now. There's 5 victims, 5 fatalities, and their families, there's a reverb, so their families will never see them again. They will never talk to them again. Their loved ones, their friends, will never have those people in their lives again. And the rest of the people at this bar, the people who were injured and the people who were able to escape, will remember this. That trauma is going to stick with them. And so now they have to begin a process of healing, and it's just something that never even needed to happen in the first place, right? But why is this happening? We know why this is happening. In the past few years, especially, I've seen such a rise in this sort of hatred and this rhetoric and this narrative that our community, this LGBTQ community, and our groups of people are somehow dangerous to the general public, right? To the normal people.
That we're going to infect them.
The word groomer is being thrown around left and right and being like so heavily rubbed into our faces. We're being labeled as groomers, and you and I as really white gay men are have the least of it. We're getting the least brunt of it. Trans women are really getting that groomer label. Drag queens are really being called groomers. You have these politicians, you have these people, you have people like Candace Cameron who are pushing this narrative that we are somehow othered. We are other.
I mean, we are other. That's what it means to be queer. But the thing is, it's just because you're different from everybody else doesn't mean that you deserve this kind of violence.
And it's just needless. People just trying to exist are somehow under attack, and I see comments on our videos and our episodes, and people are like, well, gay people are not under attack. LGBT people are not under attack. That's just wrong. And that's, making victim noises. But
they're literally under attack.
Literally under attack. These acts of violence are being committed against our groups of people. And that's just fact. And it's because of this narrative that these far right-wingers are pushing. It is far right-wingers that are pushing this narrative that we are somehow dangerous to everybody else. We are dangerous to that great American family. And it is because of people like that and the people who refuse to see us as people who deserve the same rights that they do, as people who deserve just equality, man, just equality. We're not even asking for anything other than equality, and we're not asking for anything more than that. But that somehow is just dangerous to them. That's something dangerous. We're perverting people's minds. We're perverting the minds of children. That's what breeds this. That's what breeds this kind of violence, is talk like that. And
it's taking care of these. It's canceling out these places that we love so much, that we do go to connect with people. I know as a young gay boy, when I first started to accept my sexuality, one of the first things I did was go to a gay bar in New York City, and I met people like me, and I met people who I still consider to this day to be friends, and that's something I did as somebody who felt very isolated. Mm-hmm. And didn't know any gay people that at least I didn't feel who I identified with or comfortable being around. And now you see that, you see it in a lot more places. I'm thinking even of where I went to high school. There's only one gay bar that I know over there. It's also like a college campus, and I'm actually also thinking of University of Alabama and that one gay bar that they have, and I'm thinking of all these gay bars that are now thinking, what am I going to do to make sure that my patrons are safe?
It doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon, right? But we are thinking so much about the victims from all of this, and not just those who lost their lives, but everybody who was there that night, and everybody who was involved, and everybody who will have to deal with the effects of all of this.
The aftermath.
Yes. So our hearts are with you. And I don't know, man. Okay. Well, we thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Coffee and Tequila. And we will leave you with that. Have a great rest of your week, and
be safe.
Be safe.